Hey everybody, this is Brady and Tyson with Golf Ascending, and if you haven't yet, click that little subscribe button and notification bell because we do create weekly golf content, and today we are starting a series of videos of a club fitting, and it's going to be a club fitting for Tyson. And today we are at the Claret Club in South Jordan, Utah, and we're going to have our good buddy Bryan give Tyson a fitting. And Tyson's going to talk about his club setup real quick and what he expects and hopes to do with his club fitting here with Bryan.
Yeah, so as of right now, most of my stuff is OTR, so it's just off the rack. I've made a couple of decisions that I thought were going in the right direction as far as my golf swing goes, but I never fully got dialed in with a club fitter. So someone like Bryan's gonna be able to actually nail down exactly what is best for my swing. He's gonna be able to put weight in different places on the club. He's gonna hook me up with the right shaft, get the right lengths, lofts, etc. So I'm really excited to dive in there, get dialed in, and hopefully guys, this is gonna step up the golf game and help me shoot low. And I'm actually gonna take you guys over to him right now so he can explain his process on how he fits custom golf clubs. So let's go.
Hey guys, my name is Bryan Metzler. I'm the owner of the Claret Club here in South Jordan, private golf lounge, and much more. I do lessons, I do club building, club fitting, anything you can think of that you need with a golf club. Today we are going to be fitting Tyson for a set of clubs. We're gonna do irons. We're gonna start with driver, fairway woods, and we are going to put him through my fitting process, which is a lot different than what you are used to at one of the big box stores. We're going to talk about things that a lot of people don't realize happens with the golf club and the golf swing when everything's moving. And we're going to see if we can make him hit the ball better than he's ever hit it. Right now I'm just having Tyson warm up. What I want him to do is get loose, get the big muscles going, get the fast twitch muscles going, basically get him up to full speed with the driver. And once he's feeling full speed with the driver, then we're gonna dig in and get going from there.
Okay, so a while back I went to the PJ Superstore and was swinging drivers, really like the Epic Max, was actually fit into a MMT Chemical, I believe it was called. I wanted a more exotic shaft than that, so I kind of self-fit myself into the Graphite Design Tour AD MJ7. So the reason that I self-fit myself into this is because lining up across the board, the specs were very close. So conversed with Bryan before I bought it, and he's like, yeah, that's pretty close. So we're gonna try to spec this thing out though, so let's go. That was flush.
All right, so let's look at what Tyson just did. All right, as a fitter, there are a certain number of things that I need to pay attention to in order to figure out how to configure his driver in order to optimize it for him. Obviously, we're gonna look at carry distance and total distance, right? We're trying to get that as big as we possibly can. But how do we do that? So I'm looking at our ball speed, I'm looking at the club head speed, and I'm looking at the ratio between the two, which is what we call the smash factor. All right, the smash factor is going to tell me how solid or how on top of the center of gravity or the sweet spot he's contacting the ball. All right, the highest smash factor allowed by the rules of golf is 1.51 to be a competition legal golf club. And generally that's gonna be with a driver. Every club shoulder is gonna have a little bit lower smash factor. 1.48 is pretty good relative to his club head speed. 1.4 or 1.5 is really only gonna get that ball speed up to maybe 165. So you could have hit the ball maybe a couple yards farther based on that club head speed, all right? Now, along with that, I'm looking at the backspin, right? And I'm looking at our side spin, which is really kind of like the side axis spin for the ball. And I'm looking at how close the club face is to the target line, where the club path is going, if it's coming across, if it's coming that way, and the relationship between the two. The closer these two numbers are to each other, the less spin we're going to generate and the farther we're going to hit the ball. So when I'm looking at the direction of the shot, all right, there are a couple things that dictate what the golf ball does when we make contact with it, right? 90%-ish of the starting direction of the golf ball is dictated by where the club face is aimed at the moment of impact, right? So Tyson's club face was about 1/3 of a degree closed to the target. So that's where the ball took off a little bit right there.
And that number says open because I'm a left-hander who's an idiot.
He's been working on it. The club path, relative to where that club face is going, dictates where the ball moves after the fact, right? So if the club is coming across relative to that, then we're going to get slices, hooks, that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to fit a driver that's going to match those two numbers a little closer. So we get a straighter ball flight, we get less spin, we get more carry, and we get more distance. So if we're talking about backspin, everybody in the world is going to have their own opinion on how much backspin your driver needs, right? It needs to be 2,500. It needs to be 2,200, right? It's different for every single person. For Tyson, who's moving the golf club at 110 miles an hour, which is about PGA Tour average, right? We need that spin to go down a little bit, right? Because the faster the club head's moving, the more spin we're going to generate. All right, so we need to get that spin down a little bit. For somebody that's a little bit older, not moving the club as fast, we need extra backspin to keep the ball in the air so that we can carry it farther and get more distance. All right, so the spin rate and launch angle and peak height that we look at right there, 86 feet, that's all going to be different for every single person that I do fittings for. Tyson, even though he hit the ball really solid right here, if that ball would have gotten 110 feet in the air, it would have gone 25 yards farther, without question. So what I'm going to do first is we're going to start messing with the loft of the club and see if we can get the ball up in the air just a little bit more.
If you're getting fitted, you shouldn't know what they're changing it to. You should just take the club and hit it.
Yep, absolutely.
Because right now, not that like I'm super mental about it, but I do know in the back of my mind that I'm hitting an 11.5 driver. Nope.
So obviously changing the loft of the golf club is not the answer.
Well,
so
maybe. It also might be in my head. Let me try hitting. I don't feel like I've actually hit a ball with its true loft.
yeah.
And I don't know, maybe you've already drawn the conclusion that it doesn't do anything.
We as decent golfers always think, just give me one more swing, I can figure it out. My goal as a club fitter is not to hand you a club that you have to take a few swings to figure out. Right? So when we go through the fitting and we change something, weight here, weight there in the loft, it's only 2, maybe 3 swings.
Okay.
And that's it. Because if I give you more than that,
I'm going to adjust to it.
you're going to figure it out. You're going to change yourself to match the club and start hitting better shots.
Okay.
That's not what we want.
Okay, so go longer on this then?
Yep. So we're going to change it.
You want to explain what you're doing here, Bryan?
Yeah, so what I'm doing is I am adding some weight down near the head of the golf club, effectively making the swing weight heavier, all right? That is generally going to slow down the rotation of the club face and hopefully straighten stuff out a little bit and even get the ball a little bit higher.
You hide the weight inside the hosel, right?
Yeah, so I use either tungsten powder or tip weights inside the shaft. When I build my clubs, you'll see lead tape all over the place because I really don't care if they're pretty or not.
I'm that guy.
If somebody's paying me to build the clubs, I'm gonna make them as pretty as possible, but my clubs, I don't care. Okay, so I'm just taking the a measurement on the swing weight, which is a relative term for how heavy the head feels, and we're gonna see what that does to Tyson's swing. How did that feel in terms of how much work it took to make the swing? Like, did it feel like you had to
It felt heavier.
put more effort into it?
It felt heavier.
Okay.
I don't know if I was able to. Maybe I felt like I didn't pull it all the way back because it was heavier.
Okay, give it one more. Sounds like a sledgehammer, dude. So what I did is I added weight to the head, right?
So speed dropped.
Which is generally going to give us more mass in which to create energy on the way down. But I don't want it to hurt our club head speed. And your club head speed went down
Down by
3 or 4 miles an hour when we added that weight. So we're going to take that out and figure out something else.
You put the weight here in the handle.
So what I've done is instead of putting the weight down by the head to make the head heavier and increase the swing weight, we've gone the opposite way and we've moved it up towards the handle under the grip, which will make the head feel a little bit lighter, right? So it won't hinder his club head speed and hopefully will raise the balance point of the golf club to the point where we can get a little bit better launching.
No, it's not.
So we talked about not taking a bunch of swings because eventually you're going to figure it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Along with that is I don't want you to make the club do anything in the swing.
Yeah, you just want me to swing normal.
I just want you to take it back
But I'm also human too, and I make lots of mistakes.
because we're dumb. We're really, really dumb creatures, right? And we think that our brains need to control everything. I don't want you to control anything. I just want you to take it back and swing hard and let the club do whatever it wants to do. How has this been going out in the real world? Has it been hooky, pulley?
My bad misses will be hooky.
Okay. So I know you love the heavy shaft, right? You're a big boy, all right? You like the heavy shaft. I get it. I totally get it.
When I was lighter, they went left bad.
That's because that was the other end of the spectrum, right? There's too light, which is too soft, and the face flies open, right? And then there's also too heavy, which means too stiff, which means we never get any lag, right? And the face just stays shut the entire time.
Yeah.
And the ball goes,
So let me
and the ball goes
clarify.
right.
My bad misses are that.
Yeah.
Honestly, for the most part, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
They're pretty middled.
So when we're talking about shaft and shaft weight and stiffness specifically, weight equals stiffness. Tyson's shaft it's listed as a 7 stiff, right? Which is a 70-ish gram shaft, but it's probably closer to 75 grams. That's a super heavy shaft, right? The heavier and stiffer a shaft is, obviously the less flex there is, okay? So the less that shaft is going to assist you in creating energy and releasing it into the ball. When we go to the top of the swing, when we start the downswing, the shaft bends like this. On the way down, that keeps the club face from shutting on us, okay? And as we get to this point, when the center of the earth reaches for the club and it goes down to it, that shaft kicks forward, okay? That releases all the energy that we stored up at the top. Now, if we haven't loaded that shaft enough, that club face stays closed, and boom, the ball goes straight left. Because like we talked about, where the club face is aimed is where the ball is going to go. On the other side, if the shaft is too light and too flimsy, we load it too much, the club face stays wide open, and the ball goes out that way. So that's what we're trying to find, is the medium ground. Tyson really loves the shaft, so what we're doing is basically just teaching him to swing like the Hulk, so the ball goes straight.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's all right.
That's gonna be a really good one there. That's pretty good.
If you like that kind of thing.
Yeah, if you like being straight in the middle of the fairway at 300 yards, yeah, that's okay.
11 launch
go.
angle. Hey, that's 11 and a half launch angle. That's pretty
Yeah.
good. That means I'm attacking better. All right. Well,
So,
I think we're done here.
weight on the head, right?
Yeah, just a little more weight than that.
Little weight on the head, and
Tyson was on the right track.
telling me to be a man.
Yeah.
You know. Awesome. Well, guys, that about wraps it up for the driver fitting. We took a lot of time here. We're gonna have to take a couple days, go through the rest of the bag, but super excited. And I'm gonna keep this little lead tape on here, play around with it a little bit, let Bryan know the feedback that I get, and then when we finally decide on what we're doing, we'll end up building it, probably disguising it a little bit inside the hosel. But super excited, guys. 300-yard bombs. Activate the calves, hellacious seeds. Phil said it best. So we'll see you guys next time. Make sure to subscribe and like the video. Kyler Berkshire long drive.
Holy cow.
That was a fast one.
What in the straightness? Yeah, you said it off the camera, but I did it anyway.
How far is that carry?
That's probably a 315 carry. I think maybe.
Oh!
30 carry.
What the freaking heck?